when he was serious versus joking around. And this time, Michael seemed dead serious. Jake couldn't help asking again, "So you're really not dating Livy Sullivan?" "Already told you no. What's wrong with you? Shouldn't you be focusing on studying hard and making something of yourself instead of having your head filled with teenage hormones?" Michael retorted, turning the tables and lecturing Jake. "Seriously? You're not. One more time, and I'm punching you." Seeing how insistent Michael was, a new possibility dawned on Jake. Could it be Olivia likes Michael, but he doesn't like her back? Is it one-sided? It actually seemed plausible. Michael had always gone for, well, a very specific curvy type, and he used to gossip with Jake about various girls in other classes, but Jake couldn't recall him ever mentioning Olivia before. Plus, Michael had only really started interacting with Olivia right before he transferred classes. They'd barely exchanged a word before that. But Olivia was gorgeous, pursued by countless guys. Why would she fall for Michael? Wait, could it be because of that biblical sacrifice incident? Yes, that had to be it. "Hey, what are you spacing out about?" Michael clapped Jake hard on the shoulder, snapping him out of his thoughts. Jake blinked, muttering, "Oh man, this is bad." Then, without another word, he turned and hurried off, leaving Michael standing there utterly perplexed. What the hell was that all about? Michael shook his head, resigned, and headed back into his classroom. The moment he walked in, the round-faced girl with glasses who'd collected his homework earlier called out, Well, look who's back. The great lover boy returns." Michael just stood there speechless as the classroom filled with laughter. For a fleeting moment, he seriously considered transferring classes again. Meanwhile, Claire Evans was waiting by the door of Class A. When she saw Jake return alone, she glanced past him. "I sent you to get Michael. Where is he?" Jake hesitated, looking conflicted. "Claire," he finally said, gently taking her arm and pulling her away from the doorway. "I need to talk to you about something." "What's going on?" Claire asked, following him with a puzzled expression. Inside the classroom, Olivia Sullivan hadn't moved from her seat, but her eyes had been darting towards the hallway. When she saw Jake come back without Michael, she stared blankly for a second before dropping her gaze back to the notes on her desk. She couldn't focus on a single word. An unmistakable wave of disappointment washed over her. "What do you want?" Claire Evans felt a sudden pang of panic as Jake Wilson pulled her into the stairwell landing. Looking around, she saw they were completely alone. She immediately crossed her arms defensively. "Jake Wilson," she said warily, "if you're thinking of asking me out, lose about 80 or 100 pounds first." Jake Wilson hadn't been sure how to start, but hearing Claire's words nearly made him snort in disbelief. "Are you crazy? I'd sooner ask out a dog than you gossip." Claire's eyebrows shot up, and she lunged like she was going to grab Jake Wilson's ear. "Who are you calling gossip?" Okay. I need to talk to you about something serious." Seeing her flare up, Jake immediately backed down. Before she could really lose it, he spoke quickly. "You're sure Olivia Sullivan likes Michael, right?" "Of course. Haven't you seen how she's been the past couple of days?" "But are you sure Michael likes her?" Jake Wilson paused for a moment. "When I went to get Michael Thompson from his class today, he really didn't want to go see Olivia Sullivan. And he specifically stressed, multiple times, that he wasn't dating her. He didn't look like he was lying." Jake Wilson's words made Claire Evans pause. "Why wouldn't Michael Thompson like Olivia Sullivan?" she blurted out instinctively. "Yeah, why wouldn't he? Looks-wise, you couldn't find anyone prettier than Olivia Sullivan in all of Oakwood High School. Family-wise, anyone with any sense around Green Valley knew the Sullivan family's reputation. Academically, she was consistently in the top 5 of their year. Getting into an Ivy League university was practically guaranteed, and other top universities were definitely within reach. Personality-wise, she couldn't be cuter. A girl like that likes Michael Thompson. Shouldn't he be thanking his lucky stars? How could he possibly be picky? Then look at Michael Thompson. Okay, he wasn't bad. Pretty tall, kind of handsome, grades were decent, family was well off enough. But that just made him a decent catch in Pine Ridge County. He was completely out of Olivia Sullivan's league. Claire Evans felt like she considered it from every angle, practical or otherwise. There's just no way Michael Thompson would turn down Olivia Sullivan. If anything, it was weirder that Olivia Sullivan liked Michael Thompson in the first place. Why? Jake Wilson scratched his head, glancing sideways at Claire Evans a few times. He hesitated, then cupped his hands in front of his chest, making a rounded shape. Because of this, get it? Claire Evans understood instantly. She'd used that exact gesture to tease Olivia Sullivan about Michael Thompson before. Blushing, she sputtered, "You guys are all pervs." Jake Wilson objected. "Hey, insult Michael Thompson all you want, but leave me out of it. I appreciate all kinds." Player." "Yeah, play hey." Claire Evans gave him a strange look. The second player was directed at you. This felt like a huge insult to Jake Wilson, who had never even had a girlfriend. Claire Evans sighed softly. Still, speaking of that, Olivia Sullivan is, well, some girls are like that, you know? Late bloomers or whatever. Her voice trailed off, clearly unconvinced even by her own words. Jake Wilson stated firmly, Michael Thompson and I have known each other since we were in diapers. I know exactly what his preferences are. I'm not wrong about this. True, I did overhear you two whispering about that girl in the class next door. Olivia Sullivan is great, yeah, but she's basically the exact opposite of Michael Thompson's type. So it kind of makes sense he wouldn't be into her. True, different strokes for different folks. They went back and forth like a comedy duo, and before they knew it, they talked themselves into deciding that Michael Thompson definitely didn't like Olivia Sullivan. Claire Evans thought back. She'd only ever really probed her best friend, sensing Olivia Sullivan's feelings for Michael Thompson. She'd never actually tried to figure out what Michael thought of Olivia. After all, she and Michael Thompson weren't exactly close, even though they were classmates. What now? Had she totally screwed over her best friend? For the past few days, the news about Olivia Sullivan and Michael Thompson dating had spread through the class like wildfire. And as for who let the gossip queen know, well, she knew exactly who that was. Claire Evans frowned. But that doesn't make sense either. I saw Michael Thompson get into Olivia Sullivan's car. If he doesn't like her, why would he get in her car? Jake Wilson looked puzzled. Michael Thompson hadn't mentioned anything about that to him. Maybe it was just a ride, he guessed. Twice. That I know of. Claire Evans's eyes lit up as if she'd found a loophole. Ignoring Jake Wilson, she jogged back in the classroom. Olivia, can I ask you something? During class, Claire Evans secretively passed a small note to Olivia Sullivan. By this time, Olivia Sullivan had composed herself and looked at the note her desk mate passed her. NGH. Michael Thompson was perched on his chair, biting his finger, looking deeply troubled. It was already evening. The bell dismissing the last afternoon class had just rung. Travis Miller was packing his bag when he saw Michael Thompson still biting his finger. He chuckled. You look like you're seriously constipated. Pretty much. That's exactly how I feel right now, like I'm stuck, can't push it out, can't pull it back. Dude, stop describing it. I was just about to get dinner. Now, I've got this mental image. Travis Miller cursed under his breath, then asked, Yo, young master, want to go grab a bite off campus? But Michael Thompson suddenly slapped his desk and jumped down from his chair, as if he'd just figured something out. Only an idiot would eat dinner with another dude. He straightened his jacket, popped the collar, and flashed a confident, handsome grin. I'm going on a date. Travis Miller was taken aback by this sudden burst of confidence. He stared, stunned, as Michael Thompson swaggered out the back door of the classroom, then slapped his own hand. He's got a point. He immediately pulled out his phone and called his girlfriend. Hey babe, want to get dinner tonight? Oakwood High School had an open campus plaza. Students could choose freely between eating in the school cafeteria or at the plaza. A few whose homes were right near the plaza would just go home to eat. Although Michael Thompson was a day student, he usually ate both lunch and dinner at school. And he knew Olivia Sullivan did the same. Her house was downtown, over an hour's drive away. So naturally, she wouldn't spend all that time going home just for dinner. Compared to going home, Olivia Sullivan preferred staying at school too. It's 5:40 now. The last class ended at 5:10. To avoid the lines, Olivia Sullivan usually stays in the classroom for about 20 minutes, reading or doing homework. It takes time to walk from the classroom to the cafeteria, and she eats pretty slowly. She should still be eating in the cafeteria right now. When Michael Thompson got to the cafeteria, he didn't rush to the food counter. He scanned the room and quickly spotted Olivia Sullivan eating in a corner. A smile spread across his face. Found you. Olivia Sullivan wasn't enjoying her lunch today. You could tell by the glum look on her face. She'd barely touched her food, mostly just stabbing at her rice with her chopsticks as if jabbing someone's cheek, muttering under her breath with each poke. Usually, Claire Evans would eat lunch with her in the cafeteria, but today Claire had mysteriously disappeared with Jake Wilson right after class, leaving Olivia wondering what they were up to. So, Olivia Sullivan had to come to the cafeteria all alone. Just as she was taking out her frustration on the rice, she suddenly noticed someone sit down across from her. Olivia Sullivan's hand froze. She didn't dare look up, but mustered her courage and stammered. This seat's taken. My friend is coming. This sort of thing always happened to her. Normally, Claire Evans would fiercely chase people away for her. But now, alone, she felt flustered and helpless. Unexpectedly, the person chuckled and said, Oh, really? Should I leave then? That familiar voice. Olivia Sullivan's eyes widened instantly. Looking up, she saw Michael Thompson's teasing smile. She pouted, turned her head away, and snapped fiercely, "Go on, get out of here. I don't want to see you." "But there are no other seats," he replied. "Come on, classmate, help me out here. Can I just squeeze in?" In reality, the cafeteria wasn't very crowded at this time, and the seats next to Olivia were empty. But Olivia Sullivan chose to ignore them, relenting slightly and playing along. Fine, you can sit there. But if my friend comes, you have to give up the spot." "Alrighty then. You're so nice, classmate. What homeroom are you in?" Michael Thompson said with a grin, pretending they'd just met. "I'm not telling you. Even if I did, you wouldn't come over." Her response seemed to genuinely surprise Michael Thompson this time. He wasn't pretending. Michael Thompson hesitated, then said slowly, "Jake Wilson came looking for me in my class today. Said you wanted to see me. I thought it was just the guys messing around again. You didn't actually. It was just them messing around." Olivia realized her earlier comment might have given Michael the wrong idea and quickly denied it. "Who'd want to see you? All you do is annoy me." Michael Thompson laughed too. Right. Boss Sullivan did make me put in the contract that annoying the boss is grounds for a pay cut." He continued in an exaggerated tone. "So I thought, if you get mad every time I see you, wouldn't I end up owing you money? Eventually, I might even have to offer up these 100-odd pounds of mine. What a bad deal. So, I figure it's better not to see the boss at all. Pretty smart, huh?" Seeing his smug, self-congratulatory expression, Olivia Sullivan really wanted to punch him to reward his brilliant idea. But being closer, she could hear Michael Thompson's thoughts more clearly. Damn it, so it was them. That son of a bitch, Jake Wilson, believing whatever the guys say and joining in the teasing. "I'm gonna kick his ass when I get back. Good thing I'm smart enough to stage a chance encounter during lunch. If I'd actually been dumb enough to follow him to honors class, the whole class would know my intentions are obvious. Then I'd be screwed either way, stuck explaining myself. I haven't seen her in days, either. Of course I miss her. He misses me too?" Olivia Sullivan blushed, lowering her head shyly. She pursed her lips modestly, but couldn't completely hide the flicker of joy in her eyes. But finals are next week. She's probably focused on studying, aiming for first place. If I go bother her now, I'm just asking for trouble. Can't risk lowering her opinion of me. Better not disturb her for now. Olivia Sullivan's face flushed even redder, this time with shame. She hadn't studied much the past couple of days. Her mind was too full of random distractions to focus. "But the reason Michael isn't seeking me out is because he doesn't want to disturb my studies." She secretly glanced at Michael Thompson. He was focused on eating, head down, not saying anything. Looking at his plate, she saw only a small scoop of rice and some greens. No meat at all. Olivia Sullivan looked down at her own tray. 2 meat dishes and 1 vegetable. She gently kicked Michael Thompson's shin under the table. Michael Thompson looked up at her, puzzled. "What?" Olivia Sullivan pointed with her chopsticks to the untouched meatloaf on her tray. "I can't finish this, but my grandpa always taught me not to waste food." Seeing no reaction from him, she huffed in mock annoyance. What a blockhead, and transferred the meatloaf to his plate. "You eat it for me." Michael Thompson stared at the meatloaf on his plate, looking like he wanted to say something but couldn't. Finally, he forced a smile. "Wow, Boss Sullivan, so considerate. Giving me extra rations. She doesn't think I only got vegetables because I'm broke, right? That's why she's sharing her food. No way. I just hit the jackpot. I'm newly rich. Why would I eat this crappy cafeteria food? Obviously, I'm saving room to eat somewhere nice later." Hearing his true thoughts made Olivia Sullivan's hand freeze midair. She had thought Michael might actually be touched, but instead, he was complaining. "That jerk Michael, using the money I invested to go splurge on fancy food?" Olivia Sullivan suddenly felt like snatching the meatloaf back, even though Michael had already taken a bite and gotten his saliva on it. Michael Thompson ate the meatloaf, picking at his rice slowly like he was counting beans, still thinking. Pretty girl probably hates the rumors going around class already. She doesn't want to date in high school. I shouldn't push my luck. Better take it slow, no rush. Just like last time, wait until sophomore year of college. Sophomore year. Olivia Sullivan stared at him, wide-eyed. Don't take it slow. Graduation is fine. She kicked Michael Thompson's foot again, a bit harder this time. When he looked over in surprise, she sniffed lightly and muttered, "Pay cut." "Huh? What?" Leaving the cafeteria, Michael Thompson and Olivia Sullivan walked back towards their classrooms together. Because the art studio program was in Building 8, the furthest one on campus, Michael Thompson's route back to his classroom happened to pass Building 2, where the sophomores were, so he walked Olivia Sullivan to the entrance. Just before they reached her building, Olivia Sullivan suddenly stopped. Fiddling with the hem of her skirt, she said nervously, "Why you have to come report on your work from now on? I'm the boss. I need to know where my money is going." "Nope. Every time I come, I get a pay cut." Michael Thompson was still annoyed about earlier. Although the pay cut talk was just a joke between them, Olivia wasn't actually paying him, so there was nothing to deduct. Michael was still irritated. They'd agreed. Annoy her once, get a pay cut. But had he annoyed her just now? He was just eating quietly, not even talking. She got mad over that. He wasn't going to put up with it. Not even if she was his future wife. Not even if she was his future wife. Michael Thompson considered himself a man with principles, a guy with some pride. Besides, at this rate, he didn't think things would ever work out between them. But just as that thought crossed his mind, Michael felt someone suddenly grab his sleeve tightly. He looked down at Olivia Sullivan beside him and saw her anxiously clutching his sleeve, looking up at him pitifully, like she was trying hard not to cry. Seeing her like that, all his irritation vanished. His supposedly firm principles were about to be bent again. Michael Thompson sighed, his voice softening with a mix of resignation and compromise. Yes, you're the boss. How about once a week? Olivia Sullivan kept her head down, shyly holding up one finger. Once a day. While things were looking up for Michael Thompson and Olivia Sullivan, others were drowning in misery. In an empty classroom next to honors class, Jake Wilson sat on a chair while Claire Evans perched on the desk opposite him. They both sighed. Even their sighs were in sync. Fatty, looks like you were right, Claire Evans said helplessly. Michael Thompson actually saved Olivia's grandpa. I wouldn't have believed it if Olivia Sullivan hadn't told me herself. She'd spent the afternoon subtly probing Olivia Sullivan, initially just curious why her best friend had suddenly gotten so close to Michael Thompson. But her questions unearthed something that left her reeling. Michael Thompson had saved Olivia Sullivan's grandfather. As Olivia Sullivan's best friend, Claire Evans rarely heard her talk about family, with the notable exception of her grandfather, whom Olivia had mentioned a few times. It was obvious their bond must be strong. Michael Thompson had saved her grandpa. No wonder Olivia Sullivan had warmed up to him. Claire Evans figured she'd discovered the catalyst for Olivia's feelings toward Michael Thompson. Jake Wilson added gloomily, and Michael dealt with some loan sharks for Olivia Sullivan, too. You should have seen it. If I were a girl, I'd fall for him, too. He didn't know the guy bothering Olivia Sullivan that day was her actual brother. He'd assumed it was just some punk hanging around the school plaza. They exchanged a glance, then lowered their heads and sighed in unison once more. In their minds, things suddenly seemed clear. Olivia Sullivan had an unrequited crush on Michael Thompson. Claire Evans, however, stood firm, ready to support her best friend's budding romance. Fatty, we have to help Olivia. Hold on. Why am I sighing along with this? Jake Wilson suddenly realized whose side he was on. Right, why was he sighing? He wasn't on Team Livy Sullivan. He was definitely Team Michael Thompson. Since Michael Thompson didn't like Livy Sullivan, why should he, Jake Wilson, get mixed up in it? It wasn't like he and Olivia Sullivan were that close. With that thought, Jake Wilson immediately shook his head like a rattle. Nope, not helping. Smack. Claire Evans slammed her hand flat on the desk, leaning forward with her eyebrows knitted fiercely and her other hand on her hip. Are you helping or not? Claire Evans had a reputation in class for being fiery. She never backed down from an argument, and it wouldn't have been out of character for her to roll up her sleeves and start throwing punches if truly provoked. Jake Wilson, being the milder sort, gulped silently at her ferocity. But he was still loyal. He turned his face away. I, Jake Wilson, am a man of honor. When navigating the world, the most important thing is loyalty. I'll buy you dinner. Anything under $10, your choice. Jake Wilson was silent for a moment, still clinging to his principles. Don't try to tempt me with money. I'm really not that kind of person. Michael is my best friend. And a milk tea. Claire Evans added through clenched teeth, glaring at him. Don't test me, she threatened. Jake Wilson fell silent again, then stood up. Make it a large. After the evening's self-study session ended, Olivia Sullivan lingered at her desk. Claire Evans, however, packed her things the instant the bell rang, ready to head back to the dorm. She lived too far away to commute daily, so she stayed in the dorm during the week and only went home on weekends. On her way out, she glanced at Olivia Sullivan, still scribbling away at her desk. Olivia, aren't you heading out? She asked curiously. Oh, you go on ahead, Olivia Sullivan said, composing her expression. I'm halfway through this last problem. I want to finish it before I go. She studiously scribbled random formulas onto her scratch paper. Claire Evans didn't give it a second thought. Grabbing her bag, she headed out of the classroom. All right, see you tomorrow then. Okay, see you tomorrow. Olivia Sullivan waved goodbye to Claire Evans, then sat zoning out at her desk for a while longer. Only when the classroom was completely empty did she silently pack her things, sling her bag over her shoulder, switch off all the lights, and finally leave. The academic building was deserted now. Lights were off in most classrooms, and the hallways were practically empty. Olivia Sullivan reached the first floor. Standing on tiptoe at the exit, she scanned the area for a moment before finally spotting Michael Thompson sitting on the edge of a planter, yawning. The anxious expression that had been on her face instantly gave way to a happy smile. Michael Thompson noticed Olivia Sullivan standing at the building entrance as well. He stood up and walked toward her, already complaining. "What took you so long? Do you have any idea how cold it is? I'm freezing out here. Even old Granddad wasn't this good at working people to the bone." Calling you Sullivan the Skinner is no exaggeration. Ultimately, he hadn't been able to refuse Olivia Sullivan's demanding once-a-day request. Although he mentally berated himself. Michael Thompson, you're a big, strong guy. How could you be so whipped?" His body had dutifully shown up to wait for her after class. Neither of them wanted the existing rumors about them to spread further, so they had simply agreed to talk during the walk from the academic building to the school plaza after the evening session ended. Listening to his complaints, Olivia Sullivan puffed out her cheeks and mumbled, "It was too crowded right after class let out. I had to wait in the classroom for a long time too. Next time, it's your turn to wait for me." Trying to get out of it? Let me see. What exactly is that thick skin of yours made of? On the tree-lined campus path, the only sounds were Michael Thompson's occasional jokes and Olivia Sullivan's stifled giggles. For a moment, even the winter night's wind seemed tinged with warmth. At the school plaza, Michael Thompson waited with Olivia Sullivan for her transportation. He blew warm air onto his hands, hunched his shoulders against the cold, and stomped his feet occasionally, mentally cursing the weather the whole time. If the cold in the north was a physical attack, then the southern cold was pure magic damage, a damp chill that seeped through your skin straight to the bone. This year was exceptionally cold. Even Green Valley, which hadn't seen snow for several years running, had gotten some snowfall just a few days ago. Olivia Sullivan watched Michael Thompson, who was practically tap dancing from the cold, his neck bare and hands without gloves. Then she glanced down at herself. Thick scarf, cute earmuffs, pink gloves. The complete warm weather set, not a single piece missing. Michael Thompson inwardly regretted ignoring Mrs. Thompson's advice to wear thermal leggings to school. He'd opted for style over warmth. Just then, he felt a tap on his arm and turned to see Olivia Sullivan holding out a scarf toward him. "What's this for?" "To borrow. Aren't you cold? Got another one? This color's a bit girly." "Fine, forget it then. I'll take it, why wouldn't I?" Michael Thompson took it and nonchalantly wrapped it around his neck, a triumphant smile spreading across his face. Olivia Sullivan shot him an exasperated look as he started humming a cheerful, slightly goofy tune. "Folks are happy today, yes sir, happy today." She turned her head away as if embarrassed by him and huffed softly, so childish. This time, Michael Thompson didn't let Olivia Sullivan drive him home. After all, they lived in completely opposite directions, and it felt awkward always having her go out of her way. Olivia seemed to want to object, hesitating several times, but couldn't bring herself to say anything, so she just let it be for now. Once the Sullivan family car arrived, Michael Thompson watched Olivia get in before tucking his hands under his arms and strolling towards the bus stop. Inside the car, Olivia leaned against the window, resting her chin on her hand. She gazed out until Michael Thompson's figure disappeared from view, then reluctantly pulled her eyes away. "Uncle Wilson," she said, turning to the driver. Uncle Wilson smiled kindly. "Yes, miss. Tomorrow. Could you wait for me at the bus stop?" "Huh? The bus stop? That's pretty far from your school, isn't it? It's like a 10-minute walk." "That's okay. It's even better that way." Uncle Wilson was puzzled by Olivia's decision, but agreed nonetheless. Olivia rested her head against the window, watching the scenery fly by outside, a thought crossing her mind. It would be nice if the bus stop were even farther from school. The days passed, one after another, and the final exams drew closer. Before they knew it, it was January 18th. After school that day, Michael Thompson was walking with Olivia Sullivan towards the bus stop as usual. Except, at that moment, he was enduring her nonstop nagging. "I heard you're sleeping in class every day. Even art majors need good grades, right? How are you going to get into Rhode Island School of Design like this? What are your plans for winter break? There are some really good SAT prep classes in the city. Do you want me to recommend one? Finals are the day after tomorrow. How's your studying going?" "Michael Thompson, I'm talking to you." Finally, seeing Michael ignore her, Olivia said irritably, puffing her cheeks out, "If you don't want to talk to me, I won't talk to you anymore. Huh. Michael Thompson took off his headphones then, looking a bit lost. Were you talking to me just now? Only then did Olivia notice the guy had sneakily put on headphones at some point. She glared at Michael Thompson, grinding her teeth. Michael Thompson chuckled lightly. Why do you care so much about my studies? We just have a purely financial relationship, remember? Of course, Olivia cared. She was secretly dreaming of going to college in Boston with Michael Thompson. But naturally, she couldn't say that out loud. Olivia could only make an excuse, saying awkwardly, Of course it concerns me. You need to get into a good university so you can earn more money later to pay me back. Don't worry, I'll surprise you during winter break, Michael Thompson said, exuding confidence. Olivia had no idea what he was up to, just gave him a suspicious look. But then she asked, Are you going to join an SAT prep class with me during the break? I know some great prep centers with really good teachers. She wanted Michael Thompson to go with her. Otherwise, she might not see him again until after the holidays. No way. He had better options than SAT prep classes. Why would he go to one? Olivia's mind raced, and she took the opportunity to ask about Michael Thompson's plans. So, what are you planning to do over winter break? Michael Thompson rubbed his chin, frowning as if deep in thought. After a moment, he said very seriously, Sleep more. Olivia glared and ground her teeth again. She huffed and said fiercely, You've used up your quota for annoying me today. I'm docking your pay. As part of their once-a-day agreement, Michael had also negotiated a condition. The first time she got angry each day, she couldn't dock his pay. She decided to drop the subject, as it was only making her angry, and switch to a topic she'd been wanting to discuss with him. Michael Thompson, it seems like Jake Wilson and Claire Evans are dating. You're good friends with Jake Wilson, right? Did you know? Michael Thompson, who had been strolling cheerfully with his hands in his pockets, was so shocked his jaw nearly dropped. Fatty and the tomboy? Are you kidding me? Olivia punched him lightly and said irritably, Claire Evans is my best friend. Don't you talk bad about her. No, wait, let me process this. Michael Thompson frowned, rubbing his forehead, still finding it unbelievable. As best buddies who'd practically grown up together, he could say he knew Jake Wilson inside and out. But he never heard Fatty mention anything about dating Claire Evans back in high school. Besides, wasn't Fatty always crushing on his own cousin, Emily Thompson? He'd been crushing on her since elementary school. Although in his past life, even when they were both in their 30s, nothing ever came of it. Michael Thompson carefully searched his memories. Just like how he and Olivia Sullivan hadn't had much interaction during high school in his previous life, Jake Wilson and Claire Evans had merely been classmates. They hadn't even really spent time alone together. In his past life, he'd lost contact with Claire Evans after high school graduation and only heard she had gone abroad right after. And Jake Wilson wasn't the handsome guy he'd become later. Back then, he was fat as a ball. Claire Evans was a bit obsessed with looks, especially into those effeminate-looking K-pop stars. There's no way she would have been interested in Fatty back then, right? Michael Thompson suspected it might be a butterfly effect from his rebirth. Still, Jake Wilson and Claire Evans. Fatty was really asking for trouble. Michael Thompson suddenly found it very amusing. He said to Olivia, Claire Evans is your best friend, right? Olivia nodded, confused. And Fatty's my best friend too, Michael Thompson hinted. So, shouldn't we, give her best friend a little push? What does give him a push mean? Olivia, who had never encountered such slang before, looked clueless. Michael Thompson gave a mischievous grin and whispered something in her ear. Olivia's cheeks gradually turned red as she listened. She said playfully reproachful, You're so bad. Michael Thompson regretted that those words weren't followed by, And I like it. Achoo. Achoo. On the other side of Oakwood High School, inside a diner. Jake Wilson sneezed several times in a row. Claire Evans, sitting across from him, looked disgusted. Fatty, you're disgusting. Jake Wilson could only apologize sheepishly, feeling a strange sensation. Why did I suddenly feel a chill? Claire Evans waved her hand dismissively. All right. Hurry up and finish. The dorms are closing soon. It's hard to get Olivia out because of finals, but during Christmas. She spoke softly, and Jake Wilson listened intently, nodding from time to time. The two of them, in that small diner, were also plotting their winter break wingman plan. Oakwood High School's final exams ran from January 19th to the 22nd. During this time, a major event occurred, just as Michael Thompson had expected. The global stock market crash spread to China, and Shanghai stock prices plummeted in a single day. His younger uncle, Uncle Ben Thompson, who was always hyping up the stock market as a gold mine and persuading family members to invest, finally shut up completely. Not only that, but Aunt Daisy gave him a serious dressing down, and rumor had it that the control over the Thompson household finances had now completely changed hands. Fortunately, thanks to Michael Thompson's warning this time around, the Thompson family wasn't dragged into a financial crisis like they were in his previous life. Instead, because his uncle pulled out in time, he avoided getting wiped out and actually made a nice windfall from the market. He had also taken over a garment factory in the next county and planned to start production right after Christmas, marking his first step in transitioning from a distributor to a manufacturer. Michael Thompson benefited from this too. Aunt Daisy hadn't forgotten her eldest nephew's helpful tip. Beaming, she brought over a huge bag of designer clothes for him. As long as Michael kept his figure, he wouldn't have to worry about new clothes for the rest of high school. But he couldn't bring himself to be happy, because he had bombed his final exams. That day, Michael Thompson had just picked up his report card from school and was walking towards the school plaza with Jake Wilson and Emily Thompson. Jake Wilson held his report card, practically bursting with pride, and said gleefully, "Michael, I got 10th in honors class A this time, and 50th in our grade. What do you think about asking my mom for an e-bike? She should say yes, right?" Jake Wilson's grades in Oakwood High's honors class weren't usually that great. He typically hovered around 20th or 30th place, basically middle of the pack. Getting 10th on this final exam was a huge improvement, so it was no wonder he was ecstatic. Emily Thompson casually slapped Jake Wilson on the shoulder. "Nice going, fatty. Doesn't this mean you owe your big sis Emily some KFC?" As soon as Emily Thompson slapped his shoulder, Jake Wilson became awkward, even stuttering. "And no problem, big sis Emily. Whenever you're free." He and Michael Thompson were childhood friends, and naturally, so was Emily Thompson. That's why Emily treated Jake Wilson very casually, like one of the guys. Only Jake Wilson seemed to have a hidden crush. Whenever he saw Emily Thompson, he'd get shy and bashful like a kid with a secret, even stuttering when he spoke. Because Emily Thompson was a few months older than both boys,